I was in a quandary. My presence was urgently required. A gravely ill man was waiting for me in a village 10 miles distant. A blizzard filled the space between me and my goal. I had a carriage, light, high-wheeled, eminently suited for our country roads. Wrapped in my fur, with my Gladstone bag in my hand, I stood in the courtyard all ready to go. But the horse was missing. There was no horse. My own horse had died the previous night on account of its overexertions in the current icy winter. Now my maid was running from pillar to post to look for a replacement, but it was hopeless. I knew it, and with the snow falling on me, I stood there increasingly rooted to the spot, and more aware of the pointlessness of it. The girl appeared in the gateway, alone, waving a lantern. Of course, who would lend out his horse for such a ride? I strode across the yard once more. I could see no possibility. Distracted, tormented, I kicked the rickety door of a pigsty, unused for many years. The lock gave, and the door swung back and forth on its hinges. Warm air and a horsey smell greeted me. A dim, stable lantern dangled on a rope. A man hunkered down in the low-ceilinged sty showed his open-featured, blue-eyed face. "Would you like me to put them too?" he asked, crawling out on his hands and knees. I didn't know what to say, and bent down to get a sight of whatever else there might be in the sty. Beside me stood the maid. "You never know what you have in your own house," she said. Whereupon we both laughed. "Ho, brother! Ho, sister!" called the stable lad, and the two horses, mighty, powerful flanked creatures, crept out one after another, legs tucked in close to their bodies, bending their shapely heads in a manner of camels, only barely managing to twist their way through the doorway, which their rumps completely filled. But then, once outside, they immediately drew themselves up into their full height, with long legs and solid steaming bodies. "Help him," I said, and right away the willing girl ran up to hand the harness to the groom. But no sooner had she reached him than the groom throws his arms around her and thrusts his face against hers. She screams and runs to me. There are the red marks of 2 rows of teeth on the girl's cheek. "You animal," I scream in my rage. "Do you want a taste of my whip?" But I straightway calm down, remembering myself. I'm talking to a stranger, that I don't know where he comes from, and that he has agreed to help me when everyone else has let me down. As if he could read my mind, he is not offended by my outburst, but still, busy with the horses, turns only once in my direction. "Get in," he says finally, and indeed everything is ready. I can see I have never had such a good team of horses before. I can climb happily abroad. "I'll take the reins though, you don't know the way," I say. "Of course," he says, "I'm not going with you. I'm staying with Rosa." "No!" screams Rosa, and runs into the house with a presentiment of her inevitable fate. I hear the rattle of the chain on the door. As she pulls it across, I hear the click of the lock. I see her turning out the lights in the hall, and then running on through the house to make it impossible for him to find her. "You're coming with me," I say to the groom, "or I'm not going. However urgent my mission is, it wouldn't occur to me to pay with the girl for my ride." "Ho," he calls, claps his hands. The carriage is swept away like a tree trunk in a flood. I can still hear my front door cracking the splintering under the assault of the groom, and then my eyes and ears are filled with penetrating hissing that seems to fill all my senses. But all is only for an instant. Then, as if the yard of the patient were just the other side of my front gate, I am there already. The horses are standing quietly. The snow has stopped. Moonlight on all sides. The patient's parents come running out of the house, his sister behind them. I am lifted almost bodily out of the carriage. I can make no sense of their confused reports. The air in the sick man's room is barely breathable. The neglected stove is smoking. I want to throw open the windows, but first of all I want to see my patient. So, that was Great Mell Fell. Second time. There will be a third, for sure. Because it's lovely up here. Lovely. Yeah, I'd forgotten how good the views were from up here. You can see everything. You've got the whole of the lakes over here. The whole of the Yorkshire Dales over there. Lovely. So, I've just said my goodbyes to Great Mell Fell, and I'm heading off now back the way I came towards my second fell of the day, which is Little Mell Fell. It's right in front of me, just right in the centre of screen. All these three fells today are on a Stuart Marshall route called the Mell Fell Medley, and they're just three small fells. Kind of, a couple of them are basically fried eggs, and the Gowbarrow is kind of scrambled eggs on the edge of a plate. Hopefully that's the last of the metaphorical poultry. What have I been doing lately? Reading Kafka, or rereading it. This is one of the it's one of the favourites, many people's favourites actually. One of the 20th century's greatest, in fact. So I'm rereading Kafka because I'm going to Prague in 7 days. So I've just been going over it again, opening up old wounds. Sorry, Franz, I couldn't resist it. Yeah, so that's why I was reading it. Symbolically reading a book whilst climbing a fell. You know, it's not as easy as it looks. So I'm coming back up to this lovely little wood, which I walked through on the way up. Absolutely lovely. At least the trees that's still standing anyway. There's quite a lot of damage. Quite a lot of storm damage in the lakes. There is ice on the ground today. It was 0 degrees when I left the car this morning, and the alarms were going off on the drive in here, warning me of low temperatures. So autumn is giving way to full-blown winter now. the little Mell Fell. Still looking little, but looming larger in the frame now. Wow. So over there is Helvellyn, I think, in the centre of screen. Yep. Helvellyn, Fairfield. Dodds over there. The Yorkshire Dales. Just horribly neglected is the Yorkshire Dales, sorry. I'll get around to it. Strange really, because it's only there. I think, you know, when the Lake Districts is so close to me, it's just, given the choice, it just seems not silly not to come here, you know, when it's on your doorstep. So we're back at the photogenic trees again. I did photograph these trees a few years ago when I first did this fell. It's this one down here, I think, that I photographed. I think I photographed it from just down here. It was a much duller day than this, though. I'm back on the lane where I started from this morning, and park's just down here. And I didn't narrate over the beginning of the film. You got Franz Kafka instead, a country doctor. And I'm coming back the way I came, so, you know, there's no point in doing something twice. On the road again, in the valley, in between the two fells. So I believe there's a path just up here to the left, and I'll head off that way. Oh, finally through the toughest gate system in the world. So I've just had a cup of tea, I sit on the wall, a packet of crisps. I'm just waiting for the sugar to kick in and spur me on, give me extra energy. I don't know if I've mentioned this already, I think I did, up there, that this is a Stuart Marshall route, the Mell Fell Medley. Like my last walk a couple of weeks ago, which ended in failure, the Troutbeck Medley. And it ended in failure because my energy levels were just not there. And my knee was playing up. I'm a bit out of practice with hiking this summer. And it was my first walk with my winter boots, my heavy winter boots. The Scarpa, what are they? SL Active, I think they are. And they're ultra durable, but they're heavy, you know. And I only wear them for a couple of months a year. Yeah, but halfway around the Trout Beck Medley, I was struggling, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to complete it, and cut it short. I cut a 15-mile walk down to a 12-mile walk and saved myself a couple of thousand feet of ascent in the process, which was why I abandoned the walk. But it bothered me that I'd had to cut the walk short. I never cut walks short unless there's a good reason. I thought, well, it can't just be the heavy boots. You know, I transfer over to the heavy boots every season, every winter. There's never a problem. So, it was playing on my mind. But then I weighed myself. So I thought maybe I was, my health wasn't so good. So I weighed myself. And realised that I'd put on a stone. So I was a stone heavier than what I've ever been before. That combined with the winter gear, and that's why I struggled. You know, I think that's my theory anyway. So that and lack of practice meant lack of mountain fitness, and that resulted in my premature cancellation. So I'm determined that's not going to happen again. So I'm working on my fitness again now. And this walk is 9 miles, something like that. 3 little fells, nothing major. A quite simple, easy walk this time around. I don't foresee any problems. Only this bog that I'm walking through. I should get off it really and head for this grass. Yeah, so these Scarpa boots are heavy, but they are indestructible. You know, for those couple of months of the year where everything's wet and boggy and just slippy and gnarly, they're just brilliant. And they just last forever. So they've been making them a long time, I think, these Scarpa SL Actives. So they're kind of perfected. Unlike many of the new footwear options available, lightweight with awful build quality, it has to be said, in my opinion. Okay. So the Stuart Marshall route actually goes that way. But I'm going this way. I'm taking a deviant, rebellious back way up to the top of Little Mell Fell. See if I can get away with it. So, that's where I was earlier. Great Mell Fell. I saw a guy at the beginning of it. He was just starting his Wainwright. He'd just gone out and bought his gear and stuff. His down jacket. And that was his first one. And he was planning on doing that one, this one here, Little Mell Fell, and Gowbarrow Fell. The same as me. So I wonder if I'll bump into him again. I was quite jealous though, because you know, there's nothing like starting a new adventure. I told him to make the most of it and not to rush. If you do them over a couple of years, like I did, it just kind of becomes a bit of an anticlimax if you're not careful. I'm basically looking for a farmer's gate, and then I'll start this, what I hope to be a gradual ascent up to Little Mell Fell, I think it is. And a pink sheep. Pink. Why are you pink? They've been marked with spray dye red, and it's got wet and it's mold kind of turned the wool pink. Quite funny. Yeah, so as I was saying, I'm a stone heavier than I've ever been before. An extra 6 and a bit kilograms. Many a year, 20, 30 years, I was sauntering around in size 28 waist skinny jeans. Preferably with kind of boot cut, flared, slightly flared at the bottom. And then, you know, there was nothing to me at all. And then I became a super athlete and, you know, eventually got to a 32 waist and then plateaued out. And I thought, well, that's me now. But no, it seems fate has other ideas for me, because I got my smart city clothes out last week. I've not worn them for a year or so and I couldn't fit in any of them. So I'm on my first ever diet. Only took 50 years, but I got there eventually. I have now started my ascent up to Little Mell Fell on this kind of very gradual farmer's track, and I hope it stays like this for the most part. This is great. It's a little bit like an old Roman road actually. None of those today, I'm sorry. Okay, so now I have to turn back here. It's up here. So I've been making my way up the side of this, and I'm supposed to be able to double back and zigzag my way up to the top on an old farmer's track, but it doesn't seem to want to double back anymore. So I've made a bit of a clanger, and this gorse bush is preventing me from just going up. So I just need to get around it. This path does lead to an alternative route up though, so not all is lost. Not all is lost. Okay. So over there is the summit of Little Mell Fell. Quite dark over there, over to the northeast. very moody. Right, how does one get across this little fence? Oh God, the amount of sweat pouring off me just from that. I think I've lost a kilogram just getting over that fence. Oh, not joking. Whew. Just a nice little bimble up here. Nice little scramble up to the top. Apologies, I did say I wasn't going to make a habit of making poultry themed metaphors. I just lost my control for a moment. Another locked gate, but another obstacle overcome. So it's just this last 20 or 30 feet to the top. Little Mell Fell. It's as close as I'm getting to it though. It's quite busy up here. I think to choose my moment for a photographic opportunity. But there it is. Second of the day. And the last one is right in front of me there. Gowbarrow. Just over there. The little one. Another Wainwright on the edge of the lakes. Outlying fells. I think he did a guidebook called The Outlying Fells as well, which might be worth a look at some point. But for now, I'll say goodbye to Little Mell Fell and head off towards my next objective over there. I don't know why he put certain fells on the list. I don't think any of them are there for their particular beauty in a sense that it was a nice place to be. I think they're all viewing platforms. I think he treated all the fells as like viewing balconies across the national park onto other potential balconies. Because there's a place to stand, it's, to look at there. There's nothing to it, but looking out this way, that's why I chose it. And this is the ascent that I avoided. Unfortunately, I've still got to do the descent. So I'll try and do it without slipping and falling on my arse. Wish me luck. It's just these little steps that have been made into the side of the fell which become very muddy and very slippy. So you very quickly end up on your backside. state of my hair. I look like fucking Einstein. Although, you know, it isn't only the hair in which we are compared. Wasn't too bad. Not bad at all. So now it's just this gentle saunter up to Gowbarrow, which looks quite gradual. And this is a very straightforward walk, all in all, but also a workout. I can definitely feel the kilograms dropping off me. My route takes me across here. So I'm over the fence, which has warning signs saying no walkers on it actually. So hope I'm not breaking some sort of law. Probably am. The 2 fells that I've done behind me. So the Stuart Marshall route says go, just follow that wall straight on, and you can see where people have done that. But I think Matt Does Mountains did this road and carried along the road, and I know which I prefer. A lot of storm damage. No idea which storm did that. They look like they've been down quite a while. Many years. Certainly more than 5 years. So, excellent views of Ullswater from here, Mell Fell there, and above it, High Street, the Roman road, where I was a few videos ago. High Street runs along the top of this ridge here. Look how flat it is. So, you can see the method to their madness. So, Gowbarrow Fell, right there, in front of me, and it's clear, as in no cloud, no clag. So, I will get a view from the top of it, unlike last time, where I saw nothing. You know the reasons. And suddenly there are people everywhere. As you can see. So it's going to be packed up here. So I might not get a view after all, because of the amount of people blocking all the views. So, for a split second, I thought I had the summit to myself, but I don't. But it's enough. Gowbarrow Fell, third and final of the day. So I'm parked at the base of Great Mell Fell, so it's basically a 2-mile road walk once I get off this fell. So I'd catch up with some reading. Strangely enough, after what I was saying at the top of Little Mell Fell about Wainwright picking fells because of they were excellent viewing platforms, not the case really for Gowbarrow Fell. If you want my opinion, I don't think the view was anything like as good as I expected. I think if you go to the other end of Gowbarrow and get a good views overlooking Ullswater, I can't remember the name of it, it's another, but the actual summit itself, not that great to be honest. Sorry. So I just jumped the fence and I'm just making my way down towards the road. I mean, the endless blue sky as far as I could see, which was promised by the weather forecast, didn't happen. It just didn't happen. It's been kind of very overcast and muggy and kind of dark, but it is clearing a little bit now and there is blue sky again and the light's better, so it'll be a nice little end to the walk, and it's been a lovely walk and I feel fantastic. No gripes, no complaints, no problems with stamina or energy. A couple of little twitches in my knee, but nothing out of the ordinary. All good. Touch the wood. Yeah. Okay, I see a road just down there. So I think my next Stuart Marshall route is the Glaramara, whatever it is. I think it includes Glaramara. What's it called? It's got Glaramara in it. It's got Great End in it. It's got Bessie Boots in it. Sprinkling, Tarn and all that. Yeah, I just can't remember the name of the walk. But that's next. So that will be in early December, because before then, indeed, probably by the time this video gets uploaded, I will be in Prague. I think 4 days of filming, 4 wee films, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. That will be my next endeavour. Right, okay, and he's back on the road. We're on the road again. Right. 45 minutes starts now. But now it was time to think about my own salvation. The horses were still standing faithfully in their places. I quickly managed to grab my clothes, fur coat and a bag. I didn't want to waste time dressing. One horse obediently drew back from the window. I tossed the bundle of my things into the carriage. The fur coat flew too far, but luckily one of its sleeves caught on a hook just as well. I jumped on to the horse, the bridle trailing loosely. The horses barely made fast one to another, the carriage careering around from behind, and the fur dragging across the snow at the end. "Now, go like the blazes," I said, but it was anything but. Slowly, as old men, we trailed through the snowy waste. For a long time we heard the new but mistaken song of the children's choir. "Rejoice, you patients, the doctor has lain down with you in your bed." I'm never going to make it home at this rate. My flourishing practice is lost. My successor will rob me, but it won't help him much. He'll never be able to supplant me. The nasty groom is rampaging through my house. Rosa is his victim. I don't want to contemplate it, naked, exposed to the frost of this most miserable epoch, with an earthly carriage and unearthly horses. But what am I but an old man adrift? My fur coat is hanging off the back of my carriage, but I am unable to reach it, and not one of my fleet-footed scoundrels of patience will lift a finger to help. I've been swindled. Once follow the misleading ring of the night bell, and it will never be made good.